Hi there, thanks for joining me today. This is Mandy from Mandy Makes and Mends, and today we were going to make this little card here. This card here came about as I'm going to send these as a thank you gift to my customers that ordered with me in the month of June. So to make this card then, we need a note card, one of Stampin' Up's note cards, a scrap of crumb cake paper and a scrap of Flirty Flamingo. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Designer Series washi tape, which is the Playful palette. Now, I find that if you put this down the edges of both sides of the card, it's easier than stamping down the edge. It also gives you a nice little pop of colour without having to use any stamps and ink down the side and having any wobbles. And you simply just tear it off. As you can see here, I've missed a bit, but there's no need to panic because we can just overlay on the top. Then all we need to do is trim this off. See, nobody would ever know. Shh, don't tell anyone. So next what we'll do is we'll take our jar that we'll be using today, and I've decided to use the medium jar. You get 3 jars in this stamp set, and the medium one, it just seems to be the right size for this card. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp that on our scrap bit of card in Early Espresso. So we'll stamp that down, and we'll then take the framelits and place the middle jar over the framelit, and we're going to run that through the Big Shot. Running it through the Big Shot, all we do is we've got our magnetic plate here, we put a clear plate down, our crumb cake on top, our die holding it. I love the magnetic plate as your framelit doesn't move. Your board can move but not your framelit. Place in the clear plate on top, and then you're going to run that through your Big Shot. So once we've run that through our Big Shot, we're then going to do the water. So they even give you some water to put in the jar within this stamp set. Now, as this is photopolymer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Pearson mat, Stampin' Up's Pearson mat, just so that it gives it that extra bit of cushioning on the side of the stamp as we're using photopolymer. So then we will stamp down, ink it up and stamp it down. Lovely. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a scrap bit of paper and put that underneath my stamping pad. We'll bring our card base back in and we'll just line it up to randomly about slightly at the bottom there, and we'll leave it there one moment. So another of the stamps from this stamp set is this lovely leaf or foliage stamp. So we're going to ink that up in Old Olive. And we're actually going to leave the jar on the card and we're just going to stamp down. Lovely. So now that we've got that in place, it would be broken. So what we can do is we can actually just move it up slightly so that when it's raised, and we've raised it with dimensionals, it will then join up. So lining that up, and it gives it its continuous line. So next what we're going to do is we are going to stamp the little dragonfly, and I'm going to stamp that up in Early Espresso. I just think it's not as harsh as a black ink. So we're going to stamp it up there, stamp it up there, and stamp it up there. Well, we've got the Early Espresso out. I'm gonna, as I said, use this as a thank you card. So I'm gonna ink it up, just tapping lightly, and lay it down, press in and lift it up. Thanks. For to colour in the butterflies, or dragonflies, or fireflies, I think they're fireflies actually, I'm going to use two pens. One of the pens is Daffodil Delight and the other one is Tangerine Tango. It just gives the dragonfly that little bit of extra colour, and I think that it just finishes the fireflies off nicely. So we're just going to colour them in. It's difficult sometimes to talk while you're colouring. I don't know if you find that yourself. There we go. So then it's looking lovely. So next what we're going to do is we're going to get the Blossom Bunch Punch. Had to say that slowly. Bit of a tongue twister, that one. And we're going to punch out the smallest flower. We're going to lay it down on the mat, and using the pokey tool I'm just going to give it a little bit dimension. So I'll turn it over, and using the glue dots I'm just going to take it, put it on the back and put the flower down about there. We'll take some pearls, and these are the basic pearls. Everything looks great with either a pearl, a gem or an enamel dot, don't you think? So we'll place that in the middle. Once that's on, our final bit to go on the card is a little bit of ribbon. And today I'm using the Melon Mambo stitched ribbon. So how I tend to do this is I got a great tip off of Dino Rico of the Creativity Cave. I really like her videos, and all she does is folds it before she puts it in the loop and then pulls tight, which I'm really happy with. So we're just going to pull that and make a little bow. Once we've made a little bow, we're just going to cut it off. And never worry about these little bits here, because they're always going to get used, maybe someday in Christmas trees, etc. So we'll put it in our little scraps of ribbon jar. So taking a little glue dot, what we want to do is to place on the back of our bow, and we're going to place that down on our jar. And that's my card for today. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I will see you next week with another how-to video. Speak to you soon. Bye.